Hey, thanks for joining me for another episode of Weekly Marketing Tips. I'm Brad Batesel, and this week I'm covering Net Promoter Score, or NPS. Simply put, Net Promoter Score is a measurement of customer loyalty. A company's NPS is measured by asking one simple question. How likely is it that you would recommend brand or company X to a friend or colleague? Following the question is a consistent scale with a range from 0 to 10. 0 being not at all likely, 5 being neutral, and 10 being extremely likely. This simple question provides fantastic insight into customer loyalty and eliminates long and complicated surveys that most people ignore. The idea was introduced by Fred Reichheld in 2003 through a Harvard Business Review article. Reichheld invested 2 years into research, linking survey responses with actual customer behavior, and the results revealed the true value of NPS. This one question about a customer's willingness to recommend a product or service reveals their true loyalty. Based on the score a customer indicates, they'll fall into one of three groups: promoter, passive, or detractor. A promoter would score a 9 or 10. They're huge fans of the product or service, and they will go out of their way to advocate for it. Promoters will put their own reputation on the line. A response of 7 or 8 makes that customer passive. This person probably liked what you had to offer, but there was no wow factor. They may have had a few issues or didn't see much value over your competition. A passive customer isn't likely to steer others away from your company, but they're not going to recommend it. And finally, anyone answering with a score of 6 or below becomes a detractor. And a detractor will take any chance they can get to push people away from your product or service. Detractors are often more vocal than promoters because their level of dissatisfaction is incredibly high. The ratings are then used to develop one numerical score. And this metric allows companies to quantify how changes to a product or service impact the customer experience over time. A score of greater than 50 is really good. But you can do some research on NPS by brand or industry and see how it pans out in your specific market. The biggest takeaway here is that your brand needs to be working to secure loyal customers. Evangelistic customer loyalty is one of the most important drivers of growth. Loyal customers spend more over time, they churn less, and they work to introduce the company to their friends, family, and colleagues. Take some time this week to consider the advantage of evaluating your NPS. You can start by surveying a statistically valid sample of your customers with the question we talked about earlier. How likely is it that you would recommend brand or company X to a friend or colleague? Introduce the scale from 0 to 10, along with the key for what the values correspond to, and then collect the results. It's also important to resist the urge to add any additional survey questions. You need only one question to determine their status. From there, calculate your score. You'll take the percentage of customers who respond with 9 or 10 and subtract the percentage who respond with 0 through 6. In other words, subtract the percentage of detractors from the percentage of promoters to arrive at your Net Promoter Score. And don't be surprised if your score is lower than you expect. The median Net Promoter Score of more than 400 companies in 28 industries was just 16. Consider comparing Net Promoter Scores from specific regions, products, or your customer segments. But what really counts is how your company compares with direct competitors. There's a lot of online companies that you can use to survey customers. Just run a Google search for NPS survey tools and evaluate the options to see what fits your needs. Thanks for checking in this week. As always, love to hear from you. So follow me on Twitter @Brad Batesel and let me know what you thought about this week's episode. I'll see you next week.